Yo, what is good? So in today's video, updated version, how to make your server public, and we're going to go over other things with the server as well, answer a few questions that we've had. So basically, you're going to need, if you want to make your server public, we're going to need a few things. Firstly, you're going to need to go to IW4XAdmin, and we're going to need to run that. I'll link all the things and I'll go through it step by step of what we need. So we're going to need the server files, we're going to need a Windows server to host it on, and I'll explain as we go through that. You're either going to need your public IP if you're publicly hosting your lobby, or a private IP if you just want to play against bots, and we'll cover that. You need Steam installed, the server files linked in the file description. I've already said that. To host a public lobby, you will need, we've already said that. So basic knowledge of port forwarding in your router as well as in the firewall to allow exceptions for incoming traffic. I think that's why other people have had problems with their friends joining their lobbies, because without the port being open for incoming traffic, they will not be able to connect to your server. I think in my case, my port was already open because Call of Duty uses it for Warzone, so I don't think people had issues joining my server. Um, but we're going to go across all of this stuff and potential things that you can do. So let's jump right into it. The files that you're going to need, I've put them in my Google Drive, but you're welcome to just use the links and I'll show you as I go through this what we're going to need. We do not need that. That's just my web page. We need this. So only if you're going to have a public lobby do you need to come to this IW4XAdmin. If you're not having a public lobby, you can ignore those steps. So what we do need for our server, if you watch the old video and you put them server files in your thing, you can keep them if you wish, or you can use these ones. These are more specific for H2M. So I personally got rid of my other stuff, and we'll go across that very quickly where we need to remove things and where we're going to put these things. So first off, download this. So I've already got the files, but I'm just downloading it so you can see what we're doing. So we'll go across this first. So I need to open that. So as you can see, I'll just put stuff onto the desktop just for simplicity of what we're doing. Extract everything here. So it's given us this folder. I'm going to put that there. This is what we need. So now we're going to go and find our directory where the game's installed. I don't know where you've installed your game, most likely on C or whatever, but find wherever you've installed your game. For me, it is here. So now we've got our H2M mod. So like I say, if you did watch the other video, we'll cover that quickly. We put something in main, didn't we? We had a server file in here. You had server CFG. You could delete that file from there because we don't need that anymore. And the other thing we had the Steam, we had the server, sorry, we had that server default and server, so you can get rid of the files from the old server that we were using. For anyone watching this new, ignore what I've just said. You're going to come to this folder, you're going to grab this, you're going to press Control, you're going to highlight that. You're simply going to drag these two files into there. I don't need to do it. You can see it's there and it's there. So you'll drag them into that. That is what we're doing there. This user script is a script written to add bots. I'll show you just for simplicity. So this is to add bots to your server automatically. I think it's a bit temperamental. It might have been conflicting with my old server. Um, so for me personally, it only seems to add one or two bots to the game. And it's meant to be adding up to 17 because my server can hold 18 people. So I'll get back to you on that. But if you don't want to have bots added to your server automatically, ignore this step. But where we would drag this file, I'll show you. So user scripts goes into the H2M mod inside here. And as you can see, I've got user scripts. And just to be transparent, you'll see it's exactly the same file. So that's where you drag this folder into that, well, not into there, but you know what I mean, into this H2M mod. So we've dragged all our folders. Everything is in the right place now. And I think I've just closed the wrong window. Excuse me. So let me just get my folder back up. It's that one. It's there. So afterwards, now what we need to do is we need to edit this. You might not need to edit this, but I'll explain why, and I'll explain the importance. So when we open here, you'll see the default port. This is the port that our server is going to listen in on. So 27016, that default port, if you are happy using that one, you don't need to edit this file at all. I personally can't use that port because it's one of the ports that is used for Warzone. It's one of Activision's ports. So it kept giving me errors when I was trying to run my server. So I've changed my port to 45017. So if you don't have an issue there, you can keep the default or you can change it to that port if you want, whatever. Um, so that's that. Then we can, after that, we've obviously got our server default CFG again. So we can click onto this. Someone said in the comments, I'll just go across a couple of things. Someone said, where can you write a list of the commands? All the commands are here, but I'm really quickly going to go over this and then we'll come back to it. I'll do an extended bit at the end, but I don't want to bore the people that already know this stuff. So all the commands are down here. So our set host name, this is the name of our server. You can see I've called mine Blazed. If you wanted to change yours, you would write whatever you want your server name to be. You could have a message, a welcome message, welcome to Blaze. Welcome to Blaze World. You can turn off kill streaks. Everything, if you see here, everything will have an explanation what it's doing. So someone also asked about XP. If we want to have double XP, we can put a 2 there. If we really wanted, we can put a 4, but you cannot go higher than 4 XP or just crash dump your server and just loot. So don't go higher than 4. If you want to have it on double XP, that is how you do double XP. You're not going to need a server key if you're just playing on public, and we shouldn't need it. That's to get into your panel dev part, so I'm not going to cover that. There is an important password, and it's not to have a password on your this it's not to have a password protecting your server. If you're not making a public server, you don't really need a password because no one's really going to find your no one's going to be finding your server anyway. So that's the maximum amount of players. If you only wanted 12 people, you'd just put a 12. The range is from 2 to 18. So I'm going to leave it on 18. All these stuff, these are things that you need to just have a little read through, but there's always an explanation on this right hand side here. So all these server commands can be executed into the console, but I'm going to go across that later. But just quickly, say if we were going to play team deathmatch and you want the score limit always as 150 and you want the time limit 15 minutes, this is where you'd be editing it in for your game. And now you could do the same on this, we could say we want 100 score limit, and we want the time limit to be 15 minutes for that mode. So this is how you do it before you set your server up, but you can also do it on the fly while the server's live, either. So I hope we've covered that quickly enough. So all these game modes, they're pretty self-explanatory. They're just telling you the game mode. Each setting is explaining what it does here. So then we've got our game list types, and we went over this. So sorry for anyone that's already watched the previous video, but just to help people that are new to this video, you've got DM, War, SD. These are the names for these game modes. And then you've got your maps here. And just a note, Modern Warfare 2 campaign remastered maps, the bots do not work on those maps. So personally, I wouldn't have those maps in your rotation if you want to have bots on your server, because it will cause an issue. And equally, if you don't have these maps downloaded, or you haven't got these maps, you're going to get server issues and it won't let you join a server if you've got a map listed in your playlist that you don't actually have. So that's just covering that. So moving on. So as you can see, it gives us a default um, rotation list. So if we wanted to change this rotation list, this one's a mixed gameplay, and we'll just explain it to you. So the first game, we're going to have War, which is team deathmatch, and it's going to be on broadcast. And then it goes game type again, Dom. So it's actually mixing it. You don't have to just have the same game mode over and over and over. So your server doesn't have to just be team deathmatch over and over on the same map, or on, obviously it can rotate the maps. So let's just simplify it, and we'll just say if you wanted, you would just have, if you wanted to make your own playlist, you would always have your little hyphens, and then you would have game type. Oh, game type. And say we want kill confirm. So we're going to have conf and then space, and then we'll have map, space, and then you can either just copy and paste them or you can write them out. So let's say we want to have terminal in our playlist. You would just pop that there, and then afterwards, say if we want to then play domination, you just have your game type dom space map, and then say we want to play on favela, you would just copy that, paste. I would just pull that back, and then you would end it with your little hyphens again, and that would be your game rotating from kill confirmed to domination, two different maps, and that could be your rotation. So that is that explained. Like I say, I'll do another video. There's some other, you can make it so if you kill someone, you can make it so players have higher health and things like that. I'm not going to cover all that in this video because this is more important for helping people to set up a public server and just to get connected to their own server. So I'm not going to run on about that because it will just make the video too long and too confusing when we're just trying to set up the server. So the other thing that I haven't gone across, which is very important, is, let me just find it, down here where you've got this IW4XAdmin game log and recon settings. This is very important if you want to have a public server. You have to have a recon password, or it's not going to be able to communicate with IW4XAdmin, and your server will always kick up an error and will fail to go live. So you don't need to have a name in here. This can be blank. I've just put that in Blaze, but you do need to have the login file on to have a public server. On a private server, you don't, but we do need the log file to be going across to IW4XAdmin. So as you can see, my password is blazed test server. So we're going to need to remember that for later. So I can save this now and we can come out of here. So that's all we needed to do there. Well, I don't need to save this, but you would need to save that once you've done your settings. So I'm out of there. I don't need that. So I'm just going to start our server up now. And as you can see at the top where it says listen on port 45017, that's because I chose that port. Your port is going to say 27016 if you didn't change it. We need that, and I'll show you why. So I'm just going to run this so it's loading. So what we need to do, you can either do this manually or you can do it as a uh, PowerShell command, and I'll show you both ways. Second way is quicker, but some people are dubious about things, so we will go into Windows, we will go into Firewall, we will go into Advanced Settings, and now we need to have an inbound rule, sorry. We're going to create a new rule, and it's going to be a port rule, and it's a UDP. So for you, if you've not changed your port, you're going to type in 210716, and then you're going to go to this, you're going to allow the connection. That's so people can join your server incoming traffic. So then you're just going to name it H2M server or whatever you want to call it, and then finish. I don't need to do that. Mine's already open. So that's that covered. Now, your route is going to be different from mine, but I'm going to show you how to do the power command because we need that open anyway. Well, we don't have to, but this will help people who don't know how to work out their IP. So what am I looking for now? I'm looking for my notepad. Here we are. So this is the power command that you would need, and I'll leave this in the description. This is the one that you will be using if you've not changed your port. The one that I need, because I have changed my port, is this. So we will just Control C, that's going to copy it. We're going to run. If you've obviously not got that in your recent, you're going to just type in PowerShell and it's going to come up. We're going to run that as administrator, and this is going to do exactly the same thing as what we just done manually. Just copy and paste. I've just done that too many times. How many times did I just copy that across? I don't know, but don't do that. Only copy it once. Um, that's that. So you just click enter, and when it says OK, that's just opened that port through the firewall. So that's all we needed. That we're going to leave this PowerShell open because we need that again. So let's do the router part of it now, because you need to open the ports on your router. Everyone's router is different, but let me just come back to PowerShell because this is going to help you. IP config, hit escape, hit enter, sorry, not escape. So Fnet, not the radmin one, we just want our network adapter, and it's not coming up. Oh, I'm not on my Ethernet, that's why. I forgot that. I just need to plug in my Ethernet cable because I'm actually on Wi-Fi, but it doesn't really matter, but it does for me because I've already set my server up like this. So am I on Ethernet now? All right, let me just come out of that. ipconfig, hit enter. So our Ethernet adapter is at the very top, and as you can see, we're going to want this default gateway. So this is how you can get into your router admin page. So we copy that. If you come to your internet browser, just paste that in, simply press enter, and it's going to bring you to your router login page. Now, your password to change settings, I've changed mine so it's not what it normally would be, but on the back of your router it will tell you your password if you haven't changed it. So we would come into here and you'd go to Firewall and it will prompt you to put in a password. So once we're in here, we're going to want to create a new rule. So you would select your device or your IP. You can type it in manually or you can just select the device. That's the device I want. So we're going to need that port again. So we're just going to type in 27016. That's the port you're going to need, and you're going to put that in every single box. 27016. Let's just copy and paste that because it's going to be quicker. But paste, paste. And you're going to have that as a UDP. You can do TCP and UDP. It doesn't matter, but I'm just going to do that for the example. Well, I'm not actually going to add mine, but we'll set that. Rule name, H2M server, whatever you want it to be, and then you'd click there. So your server, your gateway will be different from mine. You might need to look at how to get into your admin root settings, but that is, you just click here and then save it. And then that's done. That means our router ports are open, so traffic can come in on that port when our server is active, and it can come through the firewall in Windows as well. So that's all we needed that for. So if you're trying to connect to your own server from a different PC but on the same network, you're going to want your IP4 address. You're going to want this one. If you're using the same machine, you can use this bottom default gateway. It doesn't matter, you could use either, but especially if you're on a different computer, you're going to want to use this. Um, and also, you can, to make sure you connect, you can also put in the port number after it. So where's my notepad? You'll see here, connect, and then we've got the port number at. That's for friends or us to join from a different computer. And then you've got the default gateway if we're playing on the same device and we're just looking to play against bots. So they're the two commands that you can have. They're different than if you're using a public server. You do not use these because you need a public IP. So that is that. If you've got any connection issues, you might find that you've actually got an issue with your config files. You might have, I don't know, you might have some other issue, but for anyone else, you should be able to connect to your server. I can connect to mine and I can show you right now if I actually run my server. So my server is running. Let's get rid of these PowerShell things. So I just need to run my game now, but we will actually, for anyone that's looking to do the public server, I will carry on in one moment. I just want to launch the game just to show people. Excuse me. Um, we can get rid of that. Also, there's a fix, and I've put the file in my Google Drive, and I'll cover that after. So hopefully I don't forget, but there's a fix to stop the music looping over and over. and it will change your background. Or you can simply just delete the file, and like I say, I'll explain that very quickly. Actually, we'll do that now while this is loading. So if you want to fix that file, again, we're going to want to go into, I'll show you the file because it might be in a different place for you. Most people it's going to be in raw, then video, and then we're looking for default this file. This is the one that makes your stuff loop. So if you want to download the file from me and just copy and paste it in there, it's going to fix the looping audio in the intro, and it's going to change your background. If you just don't trust me, you can just simply delete this. All that is going to happen is you're going to have a black background and no music when you launch into the game. So it's entirely up to you, but that's how you fix that. If it's not in there, it might be in the root folder in here somewhere. Everyone's different, so that's where it is for me. All you're looking for is that default. I'll show you again just so you can see. This is what we're looking for, default.bic. So that's how you fix the loop in audio. So now we've got that out of the way, let's go back to the So as you can see, I've joined my server. I think that was not let me join because I had it configured for my gamepad and I don't have my gamepad in. I only just noticed that. So as you can see, we're on my server. Has it spawned some bots? So it's only spawned one bot. So like I say, that's still an issue. So I'm going to have to work out why that's not fully spawned. Sometimes it will spawn two bots, sometimes it will spawn one bot, but our server is active. My mouse sensitivity is really low. So anyway, that's how you join your own server. So that's pretty much self-explanatory. So now we're going to go into the part of the tutorial for people that want to make a public server. The next thing you're going to need to go to this GitHub. I'll put the link in the description. So we're going to want to get the latest file, which is what you're going to need as well. You'll need this to run it. So this is what you need to download. And you also might need to download, I personally had to download, everyone's system will be different, but I personally had to download, and I've put both of these in my Google Drive if you want to download them from there. Where's my downloads? So I had to download this as well in order for that to run. So that is that .NET hosting, and that's official Microsoft .NET. So it's nothing sinister. It's from Microsoft. Both of these in order for this to run what we're about to download. This. Excuse me. So let's go back to that website. So once you've got those things installed, how we download on here, we just go to code and then download the zip, and it's going to download it. I've already got it, you see, but I'll download it anyway just to prove to you. And then I'll delete this off my desktop. And then for the simplicity, we're going to get this new folder that we've just downloaded. The latest version is 8.16.1. We're just going to drag that to there. We're going to get rid of that. And then we're going to extract it. Extract right onto the desktop. And then it's going to open it up in a new window. So once this is done, we'll show you the next step. So we're going to run this folder, and this is totally safe. It's because it hasn't got a Windows Microsoft certificate, because that costs a lot of money. It's going to show it as it's dangerous, but it's totally not. So now we're into the IW4Admin. Enable webfront. For the simplicity of the video, I'm not going to. If you did enable it, it'll just give you an interface in which you can manage your server, but we don't need that for now. So no. Do you want multiple owners? No. Display webfront. Links on your webfront? No. The anti-cheat only works for IW4 Modern Warfare. This isn't that, so no. Profanity? No. Performing important database migrations. So this part's important. We're doing an H2M server, so we're going to put in 6. Would you like, this is also important. If you're trying to have your server show up in the playlist, you don't want this as yes. So we're going to put no. And this is where we're going to need our public IP. And if you don't know how to get that, just go on to my IP. What is my IP? And it's going to give you your public IP address. And this is what you're going to need. So we've copied that. And then we're going to go back to W4Admin. We're going to Control and V. We're going to pop that in there. Now it's asking for our port. Obviously, if your port was still the default one, you just type that one in. Mine isn't the default one, so I'm going to put in, what was mine again? I've just forgot now. Mine is 45017. 45017. But now we need our password. So mine was blazed test server. Do we want to configure another one? No. So it's going to attempt to establish the connection to our server now. Your server needs to be running while doing this part, otherwise it will not work. So as you can see, our server is up to date and it's all connected. So this server is now publicly live. So what I will show you is my brain just went blank then. What I'm going to show you is I've still got that copied, haven't I? Yes. So if we just add this to the end, 4017, this is the port for our server. So if someone else was trying to connect to your public server, you could just give them this code. Obviously they'd need connect, and this is going to allow them to connect to your public server. So we need to now launch the game again. So we've done everything we need with the files. Like I say, everything is in my Dropbox. That's the file to fix the audio. This is the admin stuff from GitHub if you want to just download it there. That's to fix your playlist. That was just the Windows.NET hosting. That was the SDK that you might need to run. This is the server files, so you can grab it all from there, or you can go to the websites that I've been visiting just for transparency. So we're going to run our game again. Like I say, I'll look into why that bot script's not working, but I'll also show you how to spawn your bots. But I need to work out why that script's not working properly, because I know for a fact that somebody joined my server and I'd never shared my server live. So I know that you do go into a list somewhere. I see a comment saying, oh, that they don't update the favorites. There is also lists of websites with server lists. So your listing might be on a website somewhere and people are using them to find servers. and there's also been some update patches, so there might be people finding your server in game, because I 100% had a guy join my server and I'd never shared my IP with anyone at all, not even with any friends. I was playing against some bots and then I noticed this guy was in my server and I was like, oh cool. So me and him were killing each other, so I know for a fact that it fully is live and it does work. Anyway, I'll stop waffling about that. So we're going to put in this, connect to the public address, and then we've got the port number there. So now we're going to connect to the server, and this is fully live now. And you'll notice there will be some messages in this top. So as you can see, it says admin. How come it booted me? Oh, it was loading in the next map. I was thinking, why did it boot me? So yeah, we're into the next game now. So one bot has connected. What am I trying to do? I'm used to having my controller and I've not got the controller plugged in, so I'm trying to find the buttons. So you can see it's only spawning one bot, and sometimes it does two, so I'm gonna have to look at that script to see why it's not working properly. But for simplicity, if you want to add more bots in, we need to keep that open, but we don't need that. We need this one. So spawn bot, and then we're just gonna we'll just say 10. Now as you can see, 10 bots have spawned, but obviously we don't want to be doing that every single game. But I'll look into that and we'll try and sort that out. But yeah, this is a live lobby now.
We've taken the lead.
And you'll notice occasionally like messages will come under the map telling you how many people have visited your server. I've got my laptop on my knees at the moment. My sensitivity is way too low for my mouse. But this doesn't really matter for the sake of showing you. So if a real person does join, because like I say, I was playing against bots, it removed a real person, and that's what the script will do. And then when a fresh player comes in, it will remove a bot and the player will join. And the same if a real player leaves, it will launch in a new bot. So I'm going to have to look at that script, and once I've got an update on that, I'll post about that. I don't want that. So that is how you do all that. So what did I say I was going to show you? I've shown you how to fix the sound. I think that was everything, isn't it? So like I say, this server is 100% live now, so anyone can join it publicly. Hello? Don't know. Oh, I'm in the match chat. I didn't want to. That's another thing. When you're first go into your server, you're gonna have to read up about this because there's stuff that you need to do. But the first thing that you need to do is take ownership of the server. So you would type exclamation mark and then owner. But that's not worked. See, blazed as fuck. It's telling us 19 players have joined. Just gonna have to try that again. It might be because I've already done this, so I'm probably the default owner anyway. Yeah, it looks like I can't claim ownership because I am already the owner. So, like I say, that is how you set up IW4XAdmin and everything, but I literally can't play on this mouse because one, I've got the laptop on my knees and it's burning my knees, and the other, I'm wearing shorts and my fans are like blowing out hot air on my legs and it's not nice. Um, And the other thing is that my sense is just not good. So that's going to conclude it. I'm trying to think if there's any other questions. So you're saying it's cheaters are unwelcome on this server and things like that. Was there anything else? Oh yeah, I was going to go into the details more, wasn't I? Into the console for people that are new to the video. So what do we need to do? We can get rid of that now. We can get rid of that. We need to go back into our config file. We can get rid of that. And then we can go into here. And then we can go into our server config file. So if you want to do things on the fly, so say if we wanted to increase what game mode I'm actually playing. Kill confirmed. So let's increase the score limit and we'll increase the timer. We've got 4 minutes left. So what am I looking for? Kill confirmed. So score limit, we'll just change that to 150. So this is how you'd change the score on the fly in your live server. You would come back over to here and you would just go like that. That's going to change the score limit. Now let's change the timer. So kill confirmed, time limit, we'll change that to 20. This one. So now you can see the time limit has gone higher, but we'd already played through 5 minutes or whatever, so now it's at 13. So that is how you enter. So when someone said, what's the list of the commands? These are all the commands for the specific game modes. Things like double XP, you can change on the fly. You could turn this into hardcore if you wanted. You could turn off the kill streaks. But all them things you're better off doing before the match starts, to be honest. You could change map now, but it's just going to pull you out of this game and then load into the next match. I just don't find them things very useful. But yeah, that is pretty much everything that we needed to cover. So I hope that has been useful, and I hope I've not ran on for too long and made it too complicated, but yeah, there was a lot to cover. Anyway, peace out, much love, and I'll catch you in the next one.